what's going on there, YouTube?
What up, y'all?
This is SCL0320.
This is your boy, Charlie Kambashby 0498. No, I'm joking. It's Joe Johnson 030.
J5! J5! Anywho!
Alright, jump back.
What? What? No, I'm sorry, y'all. This is our new non-spoiler review of the show Arrow.
The show Arrow.
Episode 13.
Episode 13.
And Canaries.
Yeah.
So the synopsis for this one reads: Oliver struggles to adjust to the changes that have taken place within Team Arrow. Laurel ignores Oliver and pursues Vertigo, which we all know last time, like, he gave it to Oliver the first episode. Oliver had issues with seeing, like, the part of himself that he didn't want to deal with, and it was really interesting seeing that whole dynamic. Anyway, who injects her with the drug itself, and Thea also receives a surprise visitor. So this episode was actually really good. I don't know, it was a lot that happened in this episode. Oh, by the way, we actually have a spoiler-free review that's right after this one. If y'all want to know anything about, we finally did a spoiler review. But in the beginning of this episode, it starts off with Laurel getting beat down. Like, she's getting beat to a pulp, and it's by her sister. And so, of course, we know that Sarah's dead, but you come to find out that something else is going on. And it says basically 48 hours beforehand what happened. And Laura is still trying to help out with the dynamics of crime fighting and stuff like that, and she's putting herself out there, but Oliver doesn't want to accept that. But one of the things about this episode so crucial is the fact that Oliver was pronounced dead, you know, and everybody on the team, they had to accept that. And more than that, they had to choose to stay on for their own personal reasons. And all those personal reasons come out, and reasons to live and reasons to fight are two different things, you know what I'm saying? And you get to see both dynamics with that, because there's something that happens in this episode with Oliver and Thea that you will not believe. And it goes with that notion of what happens when the person that you love is not there. What do you choose to do? How do you choose to accept them after that time? And then with the team, like, there's a confrontation that happens with Oliver and with Felicity, Diggle, and with Roy. And it's a real one, and it's something that needed taking place. And I really like the dynamics of how they actually projected it on this episode, because coming from where it started just the beginning of the season, not even like going on season before, it all built up to this moment where they had to talk about this, because Oliver was pronounced dead and you didn't know if he was going to actually come back. And they were the ones that left to guard the city. Anyway, the villain of this one is Vertigo. Vertigo has come back, and Laurel takes it upon herself to try to do something about it. And she's basically in the crossfires of Oliver projecting on her that, look, you're an addict. You don't need to be doing this. Like, you're just addicted to the thrills. And she was like, I think she said at one point, like, look, if anybody's addicted to thrills, it's you, Ninja. But it's really interesting dynamics and banters, because you get to solidify why Laurel is doing what she's doing. She gets that understanding for herself in this episode. But you had said earlier that there was something about the dynamics with her and her brother, or not her brother, her and her dad, that you really liked about that scene. What was it that you really kind of liked about that one? Was it the acting, or?
Yeah, definitely the acting. Without spoiling too much, man, it's I mean, it's definitely, this episode is definitely a game changer for everybody.
Yeah.
You definitely see relationships either weakened or strengthened by, you know, what just takes place in the episode. And the scene with Laurel was definitely a strong scene.
Yeah.
We definitely see her emotions very well acted, very well done.
Yeah, most of the scenes she was in.
Yeah, most scenes she was in, very well done.
Yeah. With the cinematography and the fight scenes for this one is really well done as well. Because you see something that happens with Thea later on in the game, and it leads into something that you wouldn't expect either. By the end of the episode, it's just, I think I really liked this episode because it was 3 different storylines that were kind of interwoven, but they were, how do do I put it? It was a long time coming. Like, it was eventually going to come out, like the truths that come out in this episode. There's a lot of truths that have been pent up and boarded up that needed to come out, and they would come out in a really eloquent and real way, and it was acted well, and then they were presented well as well with each one of the actors. Like, each one of the actors took a step up. One of the actors, I think, that didn't take a step up, didn't go anywhere, they just kind of went back and reverted back to their own, was Felicity. Felicity didn't act her normal dramatic self like she was this season. Maybe that's because she decided to cut odds with Oliver, but it really just kind of seems really staged. It didn't make sense. It's almost like she was acting as though nothing kind of happened. And I mean, that's just kind of on script how it looked. But she did get some really good advice to Laurel at one point in this episode. And as you see, if you look at it on Hulu or if you look at it at CWTV.com, you'll understand what I mean by that, because Laurel needed to understand this so she could stop comparing herself to Sarah and what Sarah represented. But yeah, there was one scene that I really loved. I think it was the final fight sequence with Laurel, and she has to face her demons like head on. All the things that she fears, all the things that she's worried about, it's been pinned up, it all comes out in this fight sequence, and it was really well done. I had to give this episode maybe like a 9.5. Actually, I really enjoyed this episode. What about you, man?
I give it a 9. It's a really good episode.
Yeah. And like I said before, that Joe, he just kind of came onto the scene without really knowing a lot, because he didn't look at the first 2 seasons, but yet he's here, he's enjoying it, he's making an effort. We've got so many shows y'all just don't know. We're going through Vampire Diaries, Flash, Gotham, A Cell World, Sword Art Online if we go back and revert to it. We're thinking about picking up the 100. Oh, and by the way, I mean, you got Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make one more video. I'm not sure if it's gonna be in Joe, because I know Joe's tired. But I have an idea of how to deal with a lot of these comments I haven't been making up, because somebody made a really interesting comment today, and I wanted to talk about it. They had asked, I know y'all really love to do a lot of superhero reviews, but if you could, think about doing some that are not superhero related, like the 100. Like, I don't know if y'all seen it, but I've heard you. I understand what you're saying, and we can try to consider it and maybe talk about it. But we have a lot of shows and movies that we are working on, and we're going to be looking at the Kingsman Secret Service maybe this weekend. So got to do that review. But it's a lot of shows that we got. But hopefully y'all really enjoying our reviews, man. We're trying our best. It's just me and him. Between both of us doing like any of the editing, stuff like that. But we love what we do, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to try to continue as best we can. And yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed this review for Canaries, episode 13 of Arrow. Non-spoiler review, so you don't have to worry about any spoilers in this one. Yeah, stay tuned. We got some more coming for y'all. SCL0220 signing out.
Holla.
Deuces, everybody.